Hello, and welcome to episode 117 of Flix and a Six. I'm one of your hosts, Anthony Costanzo. With me, forever and always, the man, the myth, the bad boy, for the sake of this intro, Alessandro Balsi. Say hello, Al. Oh my god. This is amazing. Where did you get this?
You didn't see that? Oh, I put it on the Spin Tune Twitter account. Hang on, let me tilt this here.
Oh my god. That's so good. Who made this?
So this was made by Annie Cookie.
That's incredible.
My mom had her make one for me and Dominic.
What you're all missing
size
on
of
account
that.
of this audio
Actually, I forgot.
medium.
I was saying, I forgot. I probably should just put this as the featured image for the...
Oh, 100%. I might even go as far as making that the image for the actual podcast
like,
for this.
in perpetuity?
Yeah, no, just for the one episode. It's okay. So what we're seeing here is a Baby Yoda with a soup cup, knitted. This is amazing. She made this.
Yeah, he's got a little scarf too.
A little scarf. Yep.
He doesn't stand up very well.
Wow.
He's not balanced great.
Neither does Baby Yoda. So I mean, I guess that's
look at those
very
eyes
accurate.
and that nose. Look at those.
Wow.
Look at those little cheeks.
That is so good.
She even colored the ears in. The ears are
amazing.
wildly too big. It's hysterical.
Yeah, they absolutely are. That's awesome.
I think from now on, I'm going to do like an Elf on the Shelf thing where like every time we go to record, he's just going to be back there somewhere.
Perfect.
Or like
Perfect.
dangling in like from above. Like
As he should be.
Maybe I'll wear
That's
a shirt
great.
for once and just tuck him in here. Like a little,
I like that.
Like a little carrier.
Okay. A little kangaroo action.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
See if
Man, that's a treat. I didn't expect that today.
I know, that was the idea. I was like,
I
man,
love that.
on the one hand, I loved tweeting this out. I think Brian saw it.
Oh, it's so good.
I was like, on the one hand, I kind of hope Anthony sees this and texts me and goes, "Oh my god, what is that?" But on the other hand, I hope he doesn't, so that when he rises up into the screen...
Even if I had seen it, that would have been a good... I wouldn't have been expecting that.
That's kind of what I figured, is it was a win-win.
Well done. Well done. I guess that qualifies as you saying hello. On this week's episode, pre-production, release dates, and other news and nuggets, all before diving into our flick of the week, Bad Boys for Life. But first, Al, what are we drinking?
We are drinking... Sorry, I got distracted. We're drinking Devil's Purse Brewing Company's Pollock Rip India Pale Ale. This is a beer that was supplied by you, I believe, months ago. When I asked for us to do this for an episode, you said,
This...
honestly, it's not that good.
I didn't... So when I had it the first time, I didn't love it.
Okay.
But I realized after the fact that it specifically says on the can that it needs to be it's like keep this can cold, and I don't think I let it chill enough before I drank it. That being said, this beer is actually supplied by friend of the show and previous guest, Damien Galarza.
Oh, nice. You know, I was just thinking about Damien.
Who I saw this movie with.
Oh, nice.
So that's really all fitting.
I was just thinking about Damien because I need to get his grade for A Quiet Place. My grade was predictably low because I didn't read any of the words.
I think it would be really great if you just if yours was blank.
N.A.?
Like, just to really... No, just like... because there was no subtitle. Like, just to really drive that point home.
Well, currently all of yours... are blank, so... I have been working on a very tedious project in parallel with Anthony working on a very tedious project, which is pretty cool, that we hope to share with you guys in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Along with many other very cool things that we have planned in the coming weeks. So stay tuned for that. Tell your friends. Please tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
By the way, shout out to all our listeners in Australia, Canada, China, Guatemala, the UK. Where else? I was looking at the country.
I'm a little concerned with unknown.
Australia, New Zealand.
Did you notice that?
I didn't.
There's an unknown category.
I'm just mentioning, like, those were 5 of the top 10 most listened to outside of the U.S. countries. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
What if we're listened to from space?
Oh, if it said somewhere unknown? Or it could be Antarctica?
Ooh.
Antarctica?
Penguins?
Penguins are listening?
Oh, so good.
We have the most cultured penguins in Antarctica because of our show. Could you imagine if we had International Space Station listeners and or penguins?
That'd be... doesn't that mean you made it?
I mean, it certainly...
I think that's when I think that's when we hang it up.
I've been kind of excited for what we've got coming down the pike pretty soon, so I'm not ready to hang it up just yet. That being said...
One might say we're ready to get it started.
Yes. 2.0?
It's more of a 3. I feel like we've rebooted a couple times.
Spin Tune 2.0. Spin Tune 2.5?
The Spin Tune 1.0?
Well, yeah, but we've always
wink,
been
wink.
the Spin Tune to some degree or other.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it would be Flix in a 6 3.0.
It's a major release is what it is.
Several major releases, which this is now sounding dirty. On this tangent, I have one more thing to say. When you're saying regions unknown, it reminded me of. Do you remember that? I don't know why it stuck with me. It's purely in the delivery. When they were talking about the Eagleton Pawnee merger in Parks and Rec, and if the merger doesn't go through, and she's talking to all the old veterans of different townships doing this, and there's that creepy old guy who goes, if you don't get it right, you'll become unincorporated territory.
Oh man, that show is so good.
That's what I always think of. But anyway, let's continue on with this beer. It's 7.5% alcohol by volume. There's a little blurb about them. Devil's Purse Brewing Company is located on Cape Cod in South Dennis. We specialize in a wide range of European-inspired ales. In addition to our core styles, we brew limited specialty beers available for sale at the brewery.
Nice. Yeah, like I said, Damien supplied this one, and our friend Will, also a friend of the show, has this Devil's Purse tattoo on his arm.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's not their logo. It's a thing.
Oh.
I had to ask because I wasn't sure.
I've never heard of that before. I was going to say, what a random brewery to get a tattoo of. Did he work there or something? Was he born there? That would be cool.
In the Devil's Purse?
No, I meant inside the brewery. Well, it's funny that we have a Damien and someone born in the Devil's Purse. So.
Yeah. All right, let's give this one a taste, shall we? Okay, actually, before we do that, another thing for people that can't see this, but I sent you a picture earlier of the head of the beer.
Oh my god,
it's still there.
Yeah, well, that's weird. I have a different experience in which I poured this and I was just looking at it before and I was like, wow, this is crystal clear and delightful.
Yeah, and not anymore.
I looked 90 seconds later and there's all this crap floating in it.
Yep. What happened there?
I don't know, but these things are defying physics, because I'm moving the glass and they're not moving.
Yeah. Well, let's taste this science project, shall we?
I think we're going to die.
Cheers.
I needed to wait half a second more, because I would have gotten such a great spit take from you. You have a delightful beer foam mustache.
I feel it. I'm going to leave it. I'm just going to leave that for you.
Oh, thanks. Well, I mean, you get to look at me shirtless all the time, so why don't I get to...
Hey, this is better cold.
Yeah, I mean... It's not great warm, like any beer. I think I let this sit out the proper amount of time to drink. Like, it's been in my refrigerator. My fridge is cold.
Maybe, I don't know. It didn't sit well the first time.
Were you just having a bad day?
Maybe I was. I don't know. But this is good.
I hate everything, especially this beer. Yes, I almost got it that time.
It might have, maybe.
Oh, so you know what I realized? That delivery would have been perfect for Tim Robinson, and I think you should leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a solid beer. I don't think this
is interesting, though, because it's got, like, there's something going on with the... Okay.
Are you being haunted by ghosts?
No, something's happening. All right, so here's the thing.
You're looking out the window now. This is the problem with you having the desk facing the window.
No, it's 9:46 at night, and there's... 2 cars. I think there was an accident out literally in front of the house.
I'm gonna be honest. That road isn't the safest.
It's not. It is if you just obey the speed limit and look.
Well, obviously, I can't see what the source of that possible collision was, but like backing out of your driveway isn't the nicest experience.
Oh no, it's not. It's not, especially when there's somebody parked on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, they're gone now. We're safe. We're safe. Dude, things happen outside this window. At alarming rates throughout the day.
So this is the problem with posting yourself up in front of a window, especially if you were looking at the back of your house, no qualms.
A little different, a little more peaceful.
Your window is about 40 feet from the street, and it's a pretty main road. Like, cars go through there all the time.
Yeah.
You have to be so distracted anytime that you're not looking at your screen.
Usually not. It's a flashing light that'll get my attention like that.
Yeah.
But I'm usually fine. But when I say like there was an accident the other day, and it was like loud.
Yeah,
it was like bang! And I was like, Christ! And it got me thinking, like, what if it comes through the window? I mean, I think that's why that little bonsai tree is there.
That's not going to stop anything significant.
But I look out the window, and now, here's the thing. The speed limit on my block is 35. It's not high.
No.
It's a fairly wide street. There's not a lot of people parking on the side, so you don't really have to worry about that too much.
I never feel comfortable parking on the street in front of your house, but...
Because, and honestly, but it's
because there's no shoulder.
Wide enough for that, but people aren't generally parked there, which makes it even more comfortable to drive down, I feel, right?
Well, it's weird because the lanes are extra wide, but the shoulder itself is super narrow. I wish they had just maintained the lanes as a normal size and given me the bigger shoulder. It doesn't actually physically change anything other than just kind of the optics.
Perception. Yeah. But so here's the thing, though. I'm a one house away from the corner. There's a house next to me, and then there's there's two houses next to me in the corner. Yes. I don't even know where I live.
I'm in the wrong house right now.
and the corner, and this loud, ridiculous bang was at that. It's not even an intersection. It's a T. Okay, and there's a stop sign coming onto the main road, right? Which is fine. So the stop sign didn't play into this at all. This is what blows my mind, because while it's a street that cars go down regularly, it's not like it's a busy street. Like if I were to go across the street, I wouldn't be waiting. Like I'm just gonna go. Like it's fine. But there is throughout the day, there's cars going back and forth, whatever. A car was coming one way, and another car was going the other way at apparently the exact same time. And then one of them, the one oncoming, decided to turn left, I guess, into the person coming. It's like, that's the weird thing about it, is the person that was just driving down the street didn't hit the person turning in. Oh. The person turning in hit the person driving down the street, which is what's
that
real.
Sounds like someone texting.
Probably. But who knows? Anyway, what do you think of this?
Solid beer. I like the flavor overall, but I will say I think the bitterness is a little bit out of proportion to the maltiness. I think it's a little overly bitter for how light, like, the actual body of this beer is.
I think I'm having a reaction to the chunks.
Is that why you were sneezing?
Yeah.
Well,
I feel it.
I'll just say,
I feel it up in the old in the nasal cavity.
Oh god. Don't worry, I'll talk through the sneeze. I think, yeah, for whatever reason, because it's a very light, pale body, not super malty, the bitterness kind of lingers on the palate in a way that I'd prefer they restrained a little bit more.
The bitterness kind of lingers on the palate in a way that I would prefer it didn't.
If you wanted to say it slightly more succinctly, yes, I suppose that would be the way to do it.
Fair enough. Still better than last time. It really must have just been a bad day.
No, it's not a bad beer. It's fine. A solid beer. This is probably going to go as like a, I don't know, maybe 2.75, maybe 3 on Untapped. On the Flix and a 6 Untapped.
Fair enough. Shall we dive into some news and nuggets?
Let's do it.
All right. A couple things.
Okay.
We haven't done news and nuggets last week because we were doing our Flix and a Whisk, or our more refined cousins were.
Yes.
But God, what a disaster!
In the best possible way.
One of the things that we didn't talk about, because most of my news and nuggets are actually from last week. One of the things we didn't talk about is the extended Disney Plus Marvel teaser that included clips from all of the new shows. I
only kind of saw that.
Oh, here's what I got out of it. Disney Plus streaming service. I gotta know a little bit more about the budget there, because it really seems like they're using a lot of money, and I think that's a good thing, because they've made spectacles out of these things on the big screen that if you were to translate it down and then not go all the way, you would lose. you would really be missing out.
Yeah.
Or like make you feel like you're like that it's incomplete. But I feel like they're really like it feels like they look like the production value of their movies.
Okay. Some of it, yeah. I don't know. I haven't watched anything else other than The Mandalorian. Actually, the only other thing I watched was the Lady and the Tramp movie, which was fine. But, it looked good. It looked, honestly, not that far off from what a Disney live action movie of the Lady and the Tramp should look like on the big screen. I mean, minus maybe a handful of sets looking too much like sets, as opposed to like a town.
Yeah, I'm curious. Well, that's another story because that's like a made for the streaming service movie.
Yeah,
which might be its own category. I feel like there's a lot of money already in these franchises, like Star Wars, like Marvel, that maybe they're probably afraid to not bring it up to that value. You know what I mean? And I'm just curious if it's going to translate when the shows actually come out. I don't know.
Well, what
it looks? I'm
animated
excited.
shows or live action shows?
No, the live action ones.
Okay, because I mean, the little bits of that extended teaser trailer thing, whatever I saw, looked fine. I'm sure it's got a budget. I mean, you could tell The Mandalorian had a budget, although still maybe not as big as one as I might have liked. Although they had really inventive ways. Did you see that thing I sent you and Brian?
That was ridiculous.
That blew my mind.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, I saw this like behind the scenes. It was actually, I didn't even see the whole article. I think I just saw someone clipped something from some article, and they were showing a lot of like the open spaces that they were using, that they were shooting in The Mandalorian. Didn't even exist. Open spaces. They had these big, like, panoramic screens that they printed on.
Yeah, like a circle.
It was like a parabola, basically.
Yeah.
Like a shallow parabola that was the whole background, so that they could pan across like groups of people and not like have to keep making cuts and stuff like that.
That's so insane.
Right? I was like, that literally blew my mind. It's like the lowest tech solution too that makes it look so. And I realized, too, because there's sometimes where there were open spaces where I was like, I wonder where they're shooting that.
Yeah.
But
it looked really good. Like, it looked really good.
Sure, it didn't look like, sometimes when you get that when, like, it is an open space or something, like, that shouldn't really, and it's like, that's clearly CGI'd behind them. Like, not that it's fake, it's like they did, like, an image stitching of, that's an ambient background that you shot B-roll on, and then you shot these people sitting on something, and then you superimposed it behind them.
Yeah, I think it's probably has something to do with the actual depth of the background. Like, the fact that it's not a flat...
Yes, the fact that it's curved definitely...
Yeah.
It serves dual purposes of both giving tangible depth to the background while also allowing a certain range in which to shoot across that allows people to array, so they don't have to be all on top of each other. Because then, again, you would notice, man, this must be on some set somewhere, because why is everyone standing 1 inch away from each other?
Right. Yeah. It's really cool. I love that stuff.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of like a particular thing will catch my eye. I'm not always super into all those things. I mean, I find them to be a curiosity just because of like this thing we do, not for the show specifically. Just like our interest goes beyond just the very face value of everything that we see. Right. But some things I find more interesting than others, or maybe I just need it to be told to me in an interesting way sometimes. For me, what I'm most curious about right now is, having only watched those two things, the only other couple of things I've watched on Disney Plus are other things that have already existed that have been brought over there. I'm really excited to see Clone Wars when it starts, and it starts in a week or two, because that had a interesting animation style that I didn't love at the beginning, but it grew on me. And it's funny because each successive animated show I liked less actually than I ended up liking that one. I liked Rebels' animation style slightly less than Clone Wars, at least at the beginning. I think they grew into their style eventually.
Oh, interesting.
But I still preferred Clone Wars slightly. I hated the animation in Resistance. Hated it. I mean, I just generally didn't like the show. I was honestly glad when it ended a few weeks ago.
Oh, it's like done?
Oh, it's completed. Yes.
Okay.
2 seasons, that's it. Thoroughly pointless, honestly. I'm actually really disappointed with the whole endeavor.
It's done, not completed. Okay. Just...
It's completed.
When you said, it's completed, I was like, that's the word I was trying to use.
Yeah.
Not done. What is that?
It's over.
High ground. The other piece related to this Disney Plus information, Mandalorian Season 2 will be dropping on October 2020.
Dropping on a month is an odd way to phrase that, but yes, it will be dropping.
I did that on purpose.
In October, you're right.
No, it's on, because I imagine that we're going to get multiple, like almost like a barrage of episodes. Maybe 4, maybe 2. I feel like it's not just going to be like the end of October. I feel like we're going to get a few.
Well, I think they dropped. I wouldn't be surprised.
On top of October.
I wouldn't be. I mean, they're still going to stick to, I think, that weekly release schedule thing for the most part. But I wouldn't be surprised if, again,
I hope so.
They gave us a fun first week of 2 episodes, maybe.
No, that'd be cool.
But yeah, no, I'm excited for that. Obviously, piggybacking off that, let's talk about another streaming fascination of ours from recent times, and that's The Witcher. You may remember Witcher Watch, which is regretfully over, but I have Witcher news from you for a couple weeks ago that should have been in last week's episode, but we didn't do news. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you saw this.
I'll toss a coin.
What's up?
I'll toss a coin.
Did you see this news about The Witcher, The Nightmare of the Wolf?
Is this the animated thing they're going to do on Netflix?
It is the animated thing they're going to do on Netflix.
I heard about it in like teaser form. There was no name attached to it. This was like a while ago.
Okay, yeah. So several weeks ago they announced it, and then about a week later they updated it with some more information. So cool. It is subtitled Nightmare of the Wolf. It will be, I think, primarily about Vesemir, a character we heard about on the show. It was the person at... I'm already forgetting the names of all the places in that show because they haven't stuck with me yet. But wherever it was that Geralt grew up, that fortress up north or whatever, the guy who took him in and was his mentor and father figure and turned him into a Witcher, Vesemir, will be the main character, I believe.
I'm pretty sure... Now, I tried to get into... Yeah, I'm just double-checking this before I say it. And I'm correct. There's a... I tried playing Witcher 3 a handful of times, and it just never really clicked for me. I really want to try again, just because I really did enjoy the show, and I kind of just want to live in that world a little bit more, and like kind of see...
I think I might finally break my dry spell of not reading and try and find the novels/short stories.
Yeah. But the character, that Vesemir, he's heavily in the opening of The Witcher 3.
Okay.
And like... So they have a great relationship.
Yeah,
and it would be. I would definitely be interested in watching that.
Technically, we didn't see him in The Witcher, but in the finale, we did hear him very briefly. So I will say the description reads: long before mentoring Geralt, Vesemir begins his own journey as a Witcher after the mysterious Deglin claims him through the law of surprise.
Classic law of surprise. It'll get you.
Yeah, every time. So anyway, it sounds like it will still be Lauren Hissrich, who was the showrunner for and the creator for the show. She's also going to be in charge of this, although I don't know if she's actually directing it. I know she's producing it, co-writing it, whatever. It's going to be actually, I guess, technically an anime movie. It's being done by Studio Mir, the Korean animation studio behind The Legend of Korra and Voltron Legendary Defender.
Okay.
So, currently, it's unknown if it will release before or after the second season, which is coming out in 2021.
Okay, interesting. Oh, we gotta wait a while for that. This is what I don't like about for this. For whatever reason, it's when you're breaking up The Mandalorian week over week, it just feels like I got more of it, and it's not so rushed. And like waiting a year doesn't feel like a long time. But when the whole drop it all at once thing happens, I just burn through it because I guess I have no self-control.
That's what.
And then I'm like, oh man, and I need my fix, and that's why I want to play the game again.
See, I think I probably engaged with it in the perfect way because I watched the 8 episodes over the course of like 10 days or something like that. So it was like not a full-blown
that's more than the 3
binge.
days that I watched them in.
What's that?
That's more than the 3 days that I watched them in.
Yeah, it's not like a full-blown binge, but it's still enough content over a very short enough time that I felt like I could really sink my teeth into it.
Yeah, no, that's better. It still makes it short though. Like that's very short for a season of television.
Well, I realized that I really only enjoy binging something if I'm going to be watching multiple seasons of it. When I binge one season of something, I get serious withdrawals after it's done. Because I'm like, oh, well, yeah. I want more now. Yeah, whereas when I decide to sit down and watch like 8 seasons of Dexter in 2 weeks, or...
By the time it's done, you're like, I'm actually done.
No, like it's fine. I was totally on board with it. It's just, it felt like I burned through it at a really solid pace, and then I have sated my curiosity for it for the time. Or even something like Always Sunny. I binged like the first 10 seasons of it, and then have been watching it concurrently when they drop live since then, and I get it across a season on a weekly basis. You know what I mean? So I've enjoyed both aspects of that viewing experience over the years. When I sit down and watch a whole season of, and it's even worse when it's half-hour stuff. Like when I sat down and watched a whole season of BoJack in like 2 days, it's like, I don't feel really fully satisfied by that. I want more. Mm-hmm. But I don't always need to watch everything on a week-by-week basis. I like to have a little mixture of the two of them.
Everybody, you have said it over and over again. I feel like everybody that I know that I agree with on movies and TV, they were all pushing for BoJack.
BoJack was a great show.
And I have to, it's making me think that I'll go back to it and try again. I must have missed something. Maybe it was just a bad time.
It's possible. And listen, it's not always the easiest show because it gets really heavy. Like, there's no doubt about that. But I think for the majority of its run, the fun and funny balances with the contemplative and even dark that they go. And it gets darker and darker as the show goes. It starts, really, the first season, it's not too dark at all. There's moments of it, for sure. But it's mostly a comedy in the first season. And slowly, you sink into the depths of it as the character himself and all those around him who he pulls down with him sink too. But they still balance it with its levity. It just, the comedy paces itself more. Like, you might get a standalone episode that's like a rip-roaring good time, and then the story proper will continue on. And what I like about it is the writing is so sharp. It's got an incredible cast. There are so many great, and I know you appreciate this in general because we have it in our own show, let alone all the other things that we love. There's so many great running jokes.
I love a running joke.
Whether they be verbalized, whether they be visual gags. Listen, there was like a whole season where one of the main characters is dating 3 kids in a trench coat who they think is an adult man. His name is Vincent Adultman.
Perfect.
And BoJack keeps saying, does no one realize that this is clearly 3 children in a coat? And she and everyone else does not realize that Vincent Adultman is indeed 3 children inside of a trench coat with a hat. And that meme has become a meme online too. You may have seen it, like whenever like someone is pretending to be something they're not, you'll see often people screenshot Vincent Adultman. And my favorite running joke is something from like the 3rd episode of the show. BoJack is in a attempt to woo one of the other main characters, Diane, steals the D from the Hollywood sign, and for the rest of the show, to the very final episode of the show, everything that references the word Hollywood is Hollywoo. And no one asks a question. No one even comments on the fact that it's a thing. Everyone seamlessly, subconsciously, everyone calls it Hollywoo. The Hollywood reporter. You know, stars, the biggest stars in Hollywood, everything is adjusted. You'll see, like, there's a sign of something else that's Hollywood, and, like the D is, like, scratched out or covered up. Like, everyone just embraces it and goes on until the very final episode. They merged 2 running jokes together. One, actually, that I kind of forgot about until this final season. Every time Mr. Peanut Butter, who was voiced by Paul F. Tompkins, he is a dog, every time he tries to order a sign for something, when he orders it from the sign store, he always says something along the lines of, "Oh, I want my sign to say blank." And then he'll be like, "Is it spelled this or that?" And then every time the sign is ordered, it's the thing, and then it's subtitled with the thing that he follows behind it. And he tries to make in the very final episode, tries to make a big gesture by replacing the D in the Hollywood sign. And so he's on a show for the last season or so called Birthday Dad. I won't explain it to you because it's impossible to explain.
Perfect.
And he ordered a D from his favorite sign company, and he said, "I want it to be a D, as in Birthday Dad." And so when they unveil it, it's Hollywoob with a B.
Oh man, that's great.
And he calls up the place going, I was very clear that I wanted it to be D as in birthday dad. I don't understand. If you can't get the next order right, I'm going to have to find another sign company.
Oh, man. That's so stupid.
It is so stupid and so smart at the same time.
I like it.
And that's what the show was. There was entire shows. There was one whole show that takes place underwater and no one says a word until the final 30 seconds of it, which actually drove me a little crazy, but I kind of appreciated it for what it was. I kind of had Vietnam-type PTSD from A Quiet Place. Thankfully, that was only a 26-minute episode or whatever.
Are there subtitles and I just don't see them?
No, this time it was very obvious that was the case. But didn't mean that I didn't think of that movie.
Amazing.
There was an episode that was told entirely... that none of it happened. It was entirely a fictionalization of someone, but not in like the way that where it's like a dream sequence. Like the person wasn't deluding themselves. They always knew it was a fantasy, but it didn't advance the story in any way, shape, or form. But it totally advanced that particular character's like characterization. And there was a million little things that they did like that. Whole flashback episodes, ones that were entirely just a joke. One of the best episodes in the whole show is BoJack giving a eulogy, and it's heartfelt and there's funny and there's bittersweet and it's sad and depressing, and the final scene is him realizing that he's giving the eulogy in front of someone else's casket. He was giving it to the wrong viewing.
So, I have a story for this.
There's always a story for something like that,
right? Kim's uncle passed away a few years ago, like maybe like 5 years ago, something like that. Maybe more. Whatever. We were at the wake, and you've met Ashley.
I have.
Ashley comes in, and like it's you know how wakes are, like there's like if they go on for a long period of time, but everybody's sad, and then like people are like you kind of need a laugh, you need something funny, you need just like anything.
Yeah.
Ashley comes in, she looks a little disoriented, comes to say hi to Kim, and then proceeds to tell us that she's been here for a while and she was at the wrong wake and just didn't know what was going on because she didn't recognize anyone, and like signed the book. Like, and I was, like when you're telling me that story, I was like, that's just the embellished version of what actually happened.
Yeah, much less embarrassing, much smaller scale version of that.
She was like, I was sitting there like, where is Kim?
She never thought to text Kim, maybe? And say...
Well, she's like, she sat there for a little bit and then was like, there's probably another. Like she was like ushered into that one.
Ah.
Because she didn't know the last name. Because it was a different last name. It was just really perfect. And it was what everybody needed right then. She was the hero that we needed.
Well, anyway, that show ended. I finished watching it a couple days ago. And I was a little disappointed. But I think that was probably always going to be the case. The way that it had to end. You're forced... when you spend that much time with the show, and it's not, and with the character, he wasn't someone like a Walter White or something like that, who's like objectively a bad criminal dude. Like he wasn't a great guy, but I never felt like with Walter White, it may take you a while to realize it, but you realize he's an absolute egomaniac, psychopath who has at some point transferred over to the thing getting too big for him to he's actively enjoying it.
Yeah.
Whereas you never get the impression from BoJack that he's enjoying the bad things he does.
Gotcha.
Despite the fact that he doesn't stop doing them.
Mm-hmm. More of like an addictive.
Yes.
Like, yeah. Interesting.
So, from that perspective, you can never fully hate him because even if you aren't like him exactly, there's times when you're at your worst or when you're remembering yourself at your worst where you can see an aspect of yourself in him. Mm-hmm. Which is part of why I say this show was so well written, because how can anyone relate to a cartoon anthropomorphic horse who was the star of a 90s sitcom and is richer than you or I'll ever be?
Right.
And yet you do, for better or worse.
It's absurd.
In closing to the show and to this storyline, the people... everyone kind of gets what they deserve, good or bad. And the thing is, I didn't expect Sunshine and Rainbows, but I expected it to be something closer to 50-50 when you look at the ensemble altogether. So I expected other people to end like significantly objectively happier, and some of them did, but not to the extent that I quite expected. So it was just a bit of a letdown, but still, I thought the finale was true to the spirit of the show and where it had been going for several years now. My own personal preference would have been for some slightly nicer finishes for some of the people.
How many seasons was it?
I want to say 6.
And they're like, are they 30-minute episodes or are they like 20-something?
They started off pretty much as 20-something. I think maybe as it got on, occasionally they would dabble with being just over 30, but... I'm going to give it another go, and part of the reason, aside from, I guess, like, everything aligning, you were just talking about it when you were here a couple of days ago. Just got drinks with Jesse, who we'll be working with for Bad Movie Night when we finally do it. Nice.
And he was talking it up. And then I just, like, finished the Will Arnett Armchair Expert episode, and I was just like, I feel like I need to give this an actual shot.
The universe is telling me something.
Yeah, it's like don't miss out. Like,
yeah.
It seems like it like, from everybody's accounts, it seems like something that I would love, but I just...
Well, that's why I was surprised when you said you'd given it a shot, and I don't remember how much you said you'd watched, but...
It was only like 4 episodes.
Okay. Yeah, I would say give it the first season or 2, because it's not really much of an investment of your time.
How many episodes a season?
10 or 13.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Yeah, like, I mean, that's like 5 hours.
Not talking like 24.
No.
Yeah.
The final season was, I think, 16, because it was split into 2 sections of 8, I think.
Oh, okay.
Right. But, yeah, I mean, it's... The thing is, even if you don't completely love it, it's so good. And they do so many things and push so many boundaries in what television can be, that it's worth your time if you appreciate that sort of quality. You know what I mean? And there's always going to be enough that, like, you should never, like, be like, oh, I hate this, or, like, I'm wasting my time, even if you don't, in the end up loving it.
Okay. That's good.
But, I mean, it's, to each their own. If after a season or 2, you have no interest, I would be surprised if that was the case, but then, you're not going to waste your time with 4 more seasons. I would be surprised if you felt that you wasted your time when it was all said and done.
Fair enough. Moving on from BoJack, you probably have this on your notes too, because that's actually something that you sent me. It got me very excited, and that is that Mad Max coming back.
Oh yeah.
It's been greenlit. Shooting's going to start to take place in Australia in the autumn, if I remember the story correctly.
I believe so.
I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
The last one was so good. It was so good.
The funny thing was, I had zero interest in that movie. Mm-hmm. And then I saw people, like, raving about it. People talking about it being, like, a Best Picture candidate. And I was like, well, I certainly didn't see that coming.
Yep.
And then I watched it, and I was like, I don't really know how to feel about this movie. What a ridiculous thing.
What a ride.
Yeah. It was fun, considering... I mean, for the most part, I'm there for a story, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I enjoy really great action set pieces and all that. But for the most part, I'm here for character and stories.
Yep.
And that's true of TV, of movies, of video games, everything. That's why I gravitate so much to something like BioWare games, Mass Effect, and Dragon Age.
Sure.
To even something like Jedi Fallen Order, whatever, did it in a different way. But that was almost entirely lacking in story, which means it had to rely 100% on its characters and its action set pieces, and those bring it. So I don't think I liked it quite as much as you did, but I did like it an awful lot.
You didn't have the nostalgia though, right? Because had you seen the older movies?
No, I've seen the teeniest bits.
Okay, there was like a chunk of my, like, I guess, like, young teenage life where, like, I got really into them and watched them all, like, multiple times, and, like, going back to that was really fun.
Well, that's what surprised me, was when you told me how excited you were for this movie. I was like, really? Mm-hmm. And you were like, yeah, I loved those movies. I was like, how did I not know this? Like not that I can know everything about you and your movie habits, but if it's something that left such an indelible mark in you, I feel like I would at least be aware of that functionally. You know what I mean?
It's a movie I bonded with another cousin over. Big Jack got me into the Mad Max movies.
Oh, nice.
So, but man, I'm excited. It's so funny because like I don't think about that movie at all, but then when it pops up, I'm like, oh yeah, like more of that.
How do you not think of it at all when there's a picture of it on your wall?
Well, I'm facing away from it now. That's actually a really great picture. That one. It's a metal print, and it's Max walking away from his vehicle with his sawed-off shotgun.
Yeah,
he's holding it in a very weird way, but it's okay.
I feel like I would get a bicep cramp from holding it like that.
Yeah. Oh, man, I've got this ridiculous setup on one of my walls. It's these 3 metal prints, all in various colors, and one is Memphis from Gone in 60 Seconds. One is Marty from Back to the Future, and one is Max. And it's just real. It's like them and they're like kind of silhouetted like faces and their cars in the background, and it's so good. I love it.
Oh yeah, the funny thing was I had seen those, like I'd seen like ads for that on like Facebook like years ago. Like there's a big extended series of those prints, and I always assume all of those things are just rip off like fake type things. Which, and then I saw them on your wall. I was like, oh my god, they're real.
I mean, they still might be rip-offs to some degree. Like, no. They definitely don't have the licenses to print these.
Meaning that if you gave them your credit card, you would be the victim of fraud and not receive anything.
Let's talk about that. I ordered these custom-made cables for my keyboard, and I knew as I was hitting the button, I was like, the only reason I'm doing this is because I'm able to do it through PayPal. There's an 80% chance these don't arrive. And I was like, but they're so cool. So I ordered them. So, we'll check back in on this week after week until I give up on whether or not they're arriving. Or they arrive. I mean, like, it's very possible. They might come. I mean, the guy had, like, it's like a one-dude operation. He hand makes the cables. I looked it up. There's reviews of people raving about his work. I went down this route. There's this whole like culture of these people making just like hand making USB cables, and
I feel like I would rather trust an actual manufacturing company for that.
That's fine. I couldn't get from an actual manufacturing company the type of cable in the style that I wanted. And I almost decided to buy the materials to make it myself because there's a lot of guides out there to make your own cables. And I was like, I know I'm a geek. I know I'm a nerd. I was like, but I don't know. I think I've got too many of those things going on right now that I don't know that I could take on another one. You know? I feel like I could. I feel like I would enjoy it, but I'm working on too many projects in that space.
right now we have too many projects for that.
It's also like it is 50% of my time on account of that's what I do. So
all I'll say is, we have 2 major projects we're working on, intertwined as they are. One of which I was expecting for us to have going already, and the other one I didn't expect for us to have for 6 to 12 months, and somehow that one has leapfrogged and taken the lead. Due entirely to your blood, sweat, and tears, digitally speaking.
Appreciate it. Yeah. My raw nubs. Just clacking away.
I always get that picture of Jim Carrey and Bruce Almighty tapping away at the prayers.
Drinking the coffee.
Yeah. Good. Well, on that note, let me ruin something for you.
Oh, no.
James Bobbin in talks to direct Clue reboot with Ryan Reynolds.
Basinger? Clue reboot.
With Ryan Reynolds.
Okay. Remember
a few months ago when we threw a temper tantrum on here about them trying to reboot Princess Bride?
Yep.
I feel much the same way about this.
It's not the right call. Yeah, that movie should stay as it is because I do think it's a very weird masterpiece.
Yeah. See, it's one of those things where like I get why they did a reboot, however you want to say it, of something like Murder on the Orient Express, which was books written like 100 years ago, movie that was made 40 or so years ago, 50 years ago even, something like that. And it was based on that property or whatever, and there's something real you can do with today's day and age and all that. But it's all based on IP and this and that. And so you have something like The Princess Bride, which actually is based on a book or short story or whatever, I forget. But it is a singular thing.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to be redone. And Clue is very confusingly based on a board game. Mm-hmm. Again, singular thing. And there's been emulations of those two things, especially Clue, over and over again. Something like Game Night, for instance.
That movie was tremendous.
View as kind of a spiritual successor to that.
That's fair.
But what I would say is I'm good with those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
There doesn't need to be a reboot of Clue. Like, you know the way you reboot Clue is when you do something like Knives Out, which is clearly a send-up to a certain degree of a Murder on the Orient Express type thing. A Clue type thing, in fact. Somehow it's...
They even say that his house looks like a Clue board.
Yeah, somehow it is a synergy between those two... movies.
Yeah.
There is no need in any way, shape, or form to reboot.
There's no need to reboot this. Here's the two things that I will say. One, if it's coming from a place of a love for the original material and it's not a cash grab, like if it's like people that really like it and have an idea that they think is really funny or could work, I'm okay with you exploring that. We'll see if that's the case.
Which is, what we know of Ryan Reynolds for the past decade. I'd be willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that is the place that it's coming from, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would just assume he's playing the butler.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah, which would be a different take on the character.
Mm-hmm.
There's just such a low upside to that sort of... Like, the chances of failing that feel so high in regards to what upside you have. Like, it's not old enough. Like, if they tried doing this 30 years from now, then fine. Because by then, enough people have forgotten. In the same way that people forgot about, Hercule Poirot and Murder on the Orient Express and whatever.
Yeah, like, there's the thing of, like, you want to remake something or reimagine it because you can do something different today that you couldn't do then. There's that. There's, or you want to, pay homage to something that is actually old. Mm-hmm. So I do agree with you. Like, yeah, in 30 years, if you wanted to do that, like maybe that would actually be kind of cool to revisit it at that point. It'd be like, oh my god, they're really gonna do that. Like that'd be kind of fun.
We're still too close to the source. There's no need.
And this is where they really screwed up. Is that they should instead they could do it like you want to make a spiritual successor instead of making right, and you do 13 Dead End Drive. Because I feel like there's a lot of wackiness in that game that Ryan Reynolds would nail, and I feel like that's a missed opportunity.
Well, what I'll say here is, so Ryan Reynolds is in talks to direct this movie. Originally in September, and I don't remember seeing this story, The Wrap reported that Jason Bateman was in talks to direct and potentially co-star, but the deal never closed because of conflicts with Ozark. They have Reynolds attached to star and produce. Deadpool writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick are writing the script, which is a comedy and murder mystery inspired by the popular board game from Hasbro. And that's all of the news that we have on this topic for now.
Interesting. I mean, if this actually comes to light, I'm obviously going to see it.
Yeah, but I'm not going to feel good about it. Like, I'm still going to, as I'm sitting down, I'm going to feel...
I'm going to root for it. If it's going to come out, I'm going to root for it.
Sure, but there's going to be an element of me that's kind of raging against it as I'm sitting down to watch it. And then once it starts...
It's going to prevent you from enjoying it more than you might be able to.
Well, it's just going to prevent me from anticipating it the way I might something that I'd be excited for. But once I'm watching it, if it's any good, I'm sure I'll enjoy it, and I'll be rooting to enjoy. Like I said, we said recently, I don't root for most of these things to fail, especially if I've paid money for it. So,
it's funny. I feel like if I were watching a new version of that movie, I'd be like anticipating certain scenes that I love so much, and then they're not going to come, and then I'm going to be like, oh. I want to watch the other one. This is, yeah, so I don't know. See, all you've done. All I want to do right now is watch Clue. I love that movie. It's so good. I had to stop her from screaming.
I was surprised you were more offended by the Princess Bride reboot news than this.
Yeah, I just feel like there's Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why, but I was definitely there. It feels like The Princess Bride. There's nothing you can do. Clue. I don't think that you should mess with it. But I like when you. It was really the fact that you said Ryan Reynolds that got me.
Yeah.
Because I love him.
Yeah, that's probably an aspect of it. The other thing is I can at least see an avenue by which they could do it with if you were going to say modernize the source material, right? Because like that was a movie that was made in the 80s that was supposed to take place in like the 50s, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas this is something being made in the 2020s that could take place in the 80s or could take place present day. So you can have it basically be the same movie with a modern twist on it, and then at least you're trying to advance it in some way.
Yeah.
If you're just doing it to take place in the 50s again, I especially don't understand.
Right. No, yeah, I didn't even think about that it might take place later.
Like, you're not modernizing The Princess Bride. No. If they're going to redo it, it's going to be the same thing again.
And it's basically, and if it's not shot for shot, they did it wrong. And like, why did you even try? That was my biggest,
Yeah, you corner yourself into such a, if it's not shot for shot, why even bother? But also, if it's shot for shot, why even bother? That's Ryan Reynolds' line in Waiting.
He's like, you never have to call the girl again. Either she sleeps with you, and there's really no reason to ever call her again.
Yes.
Or she doesn't sleep with you, and there's really no reason to ever call her again. He's terrible in that movie. Yeah. It's so good. It's so good.
No, I forgot about that line, but yes, you're right. That's a good call. I
need to watch Waiting again.
It's funny, I was just talking about this the other day with my sister. She had never seen it. I don't remember why.
Wow.
I don't remember why it came up in conversation. But she, like, forget about not even seeing it. She, like, wasn't even, like, familiar with its existence.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
I would love to watch that movie with someone for the first time now.
It's funny, because I had friends, like, when I was in high school, when it came out, who were obsessed with it. I didn't even, like, know it existed. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see it until several years later. And I still really enjoyed it. But, like, for me, it was like, I was that person seeing it for the first time when everyone else had already seen it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't even have the benefit of then being able to, like, talk. Like, I just watched it on my own, and then that was kind of it. Like, I just got the references now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. God, that movie is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I constantly, I write the book. Here's how it went down. You came in. You're fired. that for some reason is always. I play that over in my head, and I can't stand him in that movie. But
I know he's such a douchebag.
Oh man, so dumb. What other news and nuggets you got?
Okay. In slightly more confusing news, Sam Raimi in talks to direct Marvel's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Okay. I just feel like there's going to be something wrong with that.
Maybe. I don't know. So this was on the wrap. This was from a few days ago. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man director, this is the original Spider-Man director, Sam Raimi, is returning to the superhero genre and is in talks to direct Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness for Marvel Studios, according to an individual with knowledge of the project. Scott Derrickson stepped down from directing the sequel last month due to creative differences and will remain as an executive producer of the project. Marvel Studios and Scott Derrickson have amicably parted ways on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness due to creative differences. Derrickson will stay on as an executive producer, and we remain grateful to Scott for his contributions to the MCU, which was a statement from Marvel. The film is scheduled to go into production in May. Details of the film are still under wraps, but during the Marvel presentation at San Diego Comic-Con 2019, Marvel Studios boss Kevin Feige said the Doctor Strange sequel will be the first scary MCU film.
Okay, so then interesting. That makes more sense.
Yes, considering his work on Evil Dead, which is his creation of it.
Yeah, but it's just also he kind of puts that style. I feel like in anything, and it's I don't know. I wonder if is it gonna feel. He's done a Marvel movie before. I know it was before it was Marvel proper, but yes. Is it gonna? I would worry that it would feel too much like that. And not feel enough like an MCU movie, and like where it might make sense like up front. I worry that they'd have issues like they did with Solo, or like because there's going to be creative differences.
Well, so obviously he's a veteran of the medium, being kind of the one who kicked off. I mean, I know technically X-Men was like a year before the first Spider-Man, but like those two franchises, separate though they may have been, working with Sony Sony with Fox. They both kind of ushered in this era. Like, we wouldn't have the MCU without those movies and their diverging paths after that.
Sure.
But what would probably suppress any of those creative differences you're talking about is the fact that he has worked with Marvel movie making. He specifically has worked with Kevin Feige before. Kevin Feige produced all of these Marvel movies before Marvel Studios as the Disney entity existed.
Sure.
He produced those Spider-Man movies. He produced those X-Men movies. He produced Daredevil. Now, he wasn't the Kevin Feige ruler of all things Marvel at that time, but the point is, people like him and Amy Pascal have been involved with these Marvel movies for literally 20 years now. Mm-hmm. So there's already going to be a familiarity between Raimi and Feige. This isn't someone new that they're bringing in. They would only be bringing him in because of the comfortability working together.
Sure. I am curious. Only because, like, there's a lot more to it than he's making these Spider-Man movies. There's a lot of other universe stuff happening, and maybe the Multiverse of Madness will make it easier to deal with this.
Yeah, I mean, it would be super weird to bring him in to do a new Spider-Man. It would be weird to bring him in to do, I don't know, Captain America. But to do Doctor Strange, if the one you want to do is a trippy, horror-driven movie, why not give that a shot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's fine. My gut reaction is, but they haven't failed me yet, so.
Yeah, or at least not for a long time, so.
Well.
I was intrigued by this. I wanted to hear your thoughts on it, so I think your reaction is much the same as mine of, I wouldn't have thought that would be a reconciliation that we would see, that he would come back into the Marvel fold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I do wonder if there's I wonder if there's going to be something there. Like, are we going to, with this multiverse thing, are there going to be references to the other Spider-Mans?
I'm sure there'll be a joke, at least.
Yeah.
Not maybe along the lines of, like, a Ryan Reynolds joking about Green Lantern and Deadpool, but I'm sure there'll be a joke.
God, that movie is so ridiculous. I love it. Cool. That's when is that? It's 2021, right?
Yeah, I believe the date. I already closed the link, but I'm pretty sure it said the date was May 7th, 2021, or something. That makes sense.
That'll be my birthday movie that year.
Oh yeah, that's pretty damn close. That's as close as one can be.
I guess so. Especially if you see it at midnight. Cool. Any other news and nuggets? I feel like you had a couple more things.
Oh, I have one more new / nugget. I guess it applies as both.
Give me that one piece.
DC Universe launches role-playing unscripted game show from Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sam Witwer. That is, well, I wouldn't call him friend of the show, but troll of one of the co-hosts of the show, Freddie Prinze Jr. First thing, sight unseen, what I think is kind of cool is Freddie Prinze and Sam Witwer have become friends over the years due to both of their work on the animated Star Wars shows, which I think is kind of a cool thing. Both of them are huge nerds, too, in and of itself, obviously. If you've been with us for quite some time, you heard the story that I was referring to, in which Freddie Prinze Jr. trolled me on Twitter because I was asking him about a podcast he was going to do on one of the Star Wars movies, and it took me bowing to my enjoyment of him in some of the BioWare franchises for him to stop trolling me and show mutual appreciation for my fandom, just as he is a huge fan of all things like Star Wars and video games. So, some snippets from this was on IGN. Thanks to the ever-increasing mainstream popularity of Dungeons & Dragons, tabletop role-playing games are cooler than ever, and so are TV shows about them. Following in the footsteps of series like Critical Role and Harmon Quest, IGN can exclusively reveal that DC Universe has greenlit a new unscripted anthology gaming miniseries, DC Universe All-Star Games, which will feature famous DC fans playing a variety of different games and inevitably making you wish you could ditch your friends and join their party instead. Executive produced by Freddie Prinze Jr., most recently heard reprising his Star Wars Rebels role of Kanan Jarrus in The Rise of Skywalker, and Sam Witwer, soon to be heard reprising his role as Darth Maul in the final season of Star Wars The Clone Wars. Directed by John Lee Brody, Season 1 will also feature Claire Grant, Vanessa Marshall, and WWE's Xavier Woods as they embark on a retro adventure blending two distinct genres. Prinze, Witwer, Marshall, Grant, and Brody also work together on the Star Wars-inspired tabletop gaming series Gegg Wars. It's Gegg. I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Utilizing the classic 80s role-playing game DC Heroes, the story featured in Season 1 of All-Star Games is described as a nostalgic role-playing adventure, The Breakfast League, set in the same 80s era as when the game was first published. The 5 participants roleplay as a group of high schoolers stuck in Saturday detention. As they improv their way through a variety of situations familiar to fans of beloved movies from that time period, they soon discover their destinies as the world's greatest superheroes. A mashup of classic 80s teen comedies and DC heroes, that's our kind of crossover.
I was going to say, I feel like I'm going to get into this.
Yeah, so I don't know if you have DC Universe. The episode 1 of the 5-part season will air on February 28th, with new episodes debuting exclusively on the digital platform every Friday.
The final how much is that platform?
I have no idea. The final note here, I think, is DC Heroes was the first RPG I ever played as a kid. It was also my introduction to the DC Universe, its heroes, and most importantly, its rich pool of villains, said Prinze in a statement. I had a blast making the series, and I hope all of you love it as much as I do. I think Vanessa Marshall also, that name sounds familiar to me. I think she voiced Harrison Dula on Rebels.
Oh.
If I remember correctly. I didn't look that up, but I know when I read this, that clicked in my mind. I'm pretty sure that's got to be the connection there, that she worked with Freddie on whatever scenes of Rebels.
That could be interesting. It could be fun. I would check it out.
Well, for one thing, I mean, I don't know 100% about the other ones, but considering Freddie's passion for that, I'm sure it would be an interesting situation for anyone who has an interest in that sort of thing. It's not just some guy doing it. He is going to obviously put his love and affection for the medium into it.
Yeah, for sure. I'll report back on this one because that seems like something. I feel like that's something I might quickly get addicted to.
Let's say if it's the type of thing that you can add on Plex, I might check out the first episode and see if I'm interested in.
Cool. I have one other nugget in here, but I'm pretty sure we talked about it a couple weeks ago. It says Fast and Furious 9 incredibly too much. That's all the note says, and that's all it needs to say. I think that was in relation to the trailer.
Yeah, I would bet.
But.
Obviously, we did discuss that at least in brief, and if not on the show, for sure you and I did because.
Oh yeah.
We
definitely did on the show a little bit. It's just too much. It's just the whole. It's every cool thing already happened.
I believe I described it as cocaine mixed with coffee. Cocaine mixed with adrenaline mixed with Cuban coffee injected directly into my retina.
Right, 100%. It's accurate description. All right. Any other news and nuggets?
It depends. How are you feeling?
I think it's time for fun and games.
Okay, because we have some trailer stuff that we can do next week then.
Okay.
Also, it looks like we're running out of time, so I'm going to have to push my final thoughts on Mr. Robot until next week.
Also, you'll have to send me whatever these trailers are that we're going to talk about so that I can watch them beforehand.
So the funny thing is, one of them I actually intentionally was going to send to you while we were watching.
It's one of those?
Yes.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Wait, can we just do that one?
All right, let's do it.
Because I'm hoping you haven't heard about it. I saw it yesterday, and I'm hoping that in your busyness that you haven't seen it yet. So,
well, if it came out yesterday, I haven't seen it.
Okay, perfect. Because I'm going to send this to you as I stall as much as I can while I'm copying the link and then going over to Skype and then sending it.
I hate
when we have
exactly what you're doing.
I hate when we have dead air on the show. So
this is so stupid. The link came through. It popped up on the screen, very big, in the middle of the screen, and I click it, and nothing happened. And now I gotta find the conversation. That's dumb. Like, you're a link. All right, so I gotta do this whole thing now where I got to pump the audio through so that you can hear it too. So please bear with me.
I can keep talking and narrating.
That's fine. I think we're good. I think we're already there. So we can. I'm just gonna turn the volume up so that you can hear it too. Here we go. What is this? What is this title? What is happening? These hashtags. Okay, I'm ready.
In 500 years, no one has ever escaped. You're not going anywhere. It's the tower! So stupid.
What is happening?
Give this to tonight!
The look of pure joy on Anthony's face right now.
I owe you my life.
Oh my god, okay.
Going east, my way is filled with danger.
Ooh, okay, so we got a little bit of an identity crisis.
My journey follows the Silk Road.
Duh.
The Great Wall of China.
Naturally.
Something is very wrong.
In case you haven't figured this out yet,
Something is absolutely wrong. This got made.
It's a Chinese movie.
Make everyone see that the dragon obeys you.
This is intense. Oh man.
I've been waiting for this for a long time.
Oh my.
No, don't touch
Oh
me.
my.
This is the helmet of Genghis Khan.
Helmet? This is an instant pop.
Oh my god. What is happening? The Iron Mask.
Yeah, so for those of you...
Okay, good. So the movie will be released in 3D. Got it. 100%.
For those of you who don't know, just by listening to this is a movie called The Iron Mask. It is a Chinese production, I believe. I'm 99.9% sure. It features Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan, which is why I knew Anthony needed to see this, and he knew he needed to see it in this format. I'm not 100% sure when it's coming out in the US, or even if it's coming out in the US, because I believe that's a trailer for its release in the UK.
There is a 13-year-old me that just had a heart attack.
I know, which is why I needed to send this to you in this way. It's why I didn't tip you off ahead of time. I just wanted to see. I should have grabbed just like a screenshot of that. We could have put that. We could have had a triumvirate of feature images.
I need a cigarette, and I don't even smoke. I've never smoked.
I know how much you love Arnold. I know you enjoy Jackie. The two of them, I mean, how great and fourth wall breaking is that? I've been waiting for this a long time. The fact that they're both like 70 years old when this is coming out is ridiculous. This is like Pacquiao Mayweather when they're both way past their prime. And yet, I'm going to enjoy this more than I did that.
They're both... Well, actually, I'm not going to say they're both. Arnold is moving around like he's in The Irishman. And Jackie Chan has still got it.
Well, we saw The Foreigner a couple years ago. He still looked pretty good.
Yeah, but you remember how I was a little bit frustrated with... I thought it was going to be a Jackie Chan movie, and it wasn't. This is going to be a Jackie Chan movie.
Sure. But I actually ultimately liked that it, quote-unquote, wasn't a Jackie Chan
No, it was fine. It was fine. I just... my expectations were incorrectly set for the movie. That was the problem.
But, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's definitely going to be easier when you've been in amazing shape and haven't taken steroids your whole life to still be moving well, as opposed to when you're a hulk of a man who took a lot of steroids. You're going to just move better in those circumstances. But yeah, that trailer is fucking ridiculous. It clearly does look like a Chinese movie because they go for balls to the wall, over the top action shit.
It's there was at one point I wasn't sure if like, is this a remake of The Man in the Iron Mask? Is this Around the World in 80 Days with Jackie Chan? Is this what's going on here?
Actually, wasn't Arnold in that too?
Is this Shanghai Universe? Remember what's
Shanghai...
the next one? It was night. It was
Dusk.
noon nights, and now it'll be this one.
Shanghai Break of Dawn. Although I guess if we want to go with the Asian element, I guess it could be Shanghai Rising Sun.
I think it should just be like Shanghai Commando, since Arnold's going to be in it. We should do Commando one day.
I haven't seen all that movie in a long time. That's a movie. Well, wasn't Arnold also in Around the World in 80 Days?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
Neither did I, but I feel like I remember seeing a trailer. I think he has like a cameo in it.
Oh, that might be right.
Like, I don't think he's one of like, the main characters, but I think he's like in one sequence of the movie. I'm
gonna look it up. I got you. Nope. It's not the one from 1956. I'm pretty sure he wasn't in that one.
No, it's like 2004.
Around the World. This is ridiculous. Yeah, 2004. Good pull.
Like 90% of movies I can get with plus or minus a year.
Yeah, I'm usually there too. I'm not seeing it. Yep, there he is. Prince Happy.
Phenomenal. I know that he was some sort of royalty in some
amazing
like corner of the world. I think he was playing some indigenous tribe leader or something like that, which is weird. 2004 was a hell of a time.
They look like they're having a good time making that movie.
Well, the one thing I'm a little worried about, I saw someone say, and I was like, you know what? I was kind of getting those vibes, but I couldn't quite put into words. Or someone said, this is going to be the type of movie where that trailer is going to get you in the door, and all of their scenes are going to be in the trailer, and the rest of the movie is just going to be about Jason Fleming.
That's probably true.
Right?
Yeah, I can see that happening.
That's something that, even if it comes to the theaters in the US,
old bait and switch.
We can't do it. We have to wait until it's on a streaming thing, because if that's the case, if the two of them are in the movie for 10 minutes, I'm going to be so mad if I go to the theater for it.
That's fair. If it even comes out. I realized that movie looked like it actually looked like there was a significant amount of money involved, and it looks like it's done, but is it going to come out? Is it real?
The thing is, that trailer, like I said, is for a theatrical release in the UK.
Yeah.
And also, I think, digital streaming, so I think probably we could get it on Plex sometime in the next few months.
Interesting.
Would be my guess.
All right, we'll get to the bottom of this.
Let's have some fun and games.
Here we go. I was trying to find a Bad Boys related quiz, and I had a hard time.
That's not surprising.
I went a different route, and we're going to do which Michael Bay movie are you?
I can tell you already. I am Michael Bay Explosions.
Perfect. God, I hope that's the answer when we're done. It's 10 questions. Buckle up. What's your biggest goal in life? Getting rich, stopping bad guys, protecting my loved ones, changing the world.
Let's go with protecting my loved ones.
It's reasonable. All right. Pick a ride. Porsche 911, spaceship, Hummer H1, giant robot, Lamborghini Diablo.
Diablo.
Okay. I was like, why is it not loading? It's because the next button was tucked away far below the quiz. Is your day off? It is your day off. Where can we find you? At the pool or beach? At the gym, bro. Reading a good book? That's a woman breastfeeding. That's what the picture is for that. Playing video games? When you go on a quiz site, you gotta know you've probably already gotten the virus. Playing video games... Day off? I wish.
You really had me torn between those first two, but obviously I'm going to go with beach.
Beach, yeah. I knew it was the beach. All right.
The gym wasn't a bad one either, but it's the beach.
Which celeb would you rather hang with? Bruce Willis, The Rock, Nicolas Cage, Megan Fox, or Will Smith?
Wow.
Yeah, there are. Those are all choices, my friends.
They sure are. Let's go with The Rock.
The Rock. All right. How do you feel about movie sequels? The more the merrier. A truly good movie stands on its own. They're okay. Just don't get too carried away.
Wait, sorry. Give me those again.
The more the merrier.
With better pauses between the two of them, because it felt like I wasn't sure which were the end of the options.
The more the merrier. A truly good movie stands on its own. They're okay. Just don't get too carried away.
That one.
Yeah, I knew that. I could have just skipped over that question. I know some of your answers to these already. Which type of music would be the soundtrack to your life? Classic rock, alternative, rap, instrumental, like Hans Zimmer's score. A little of this, a little of that. My tastes are eclectic.
Let's go with alternative.
Okay.
You would go with Hanzo.
I would 100%. It is the soundtrack of my life. It's usually on.
Look at this delightful pour of an Al's Ale.
Nice. What ale is that?
I believe it's the red ale.
Nice.
So I hate to interrupt fun and games, but I had some fun with that a couple weeks ago for the Super Bowl, in which I hosted a party here. A bunch of my friends came over, and they were like, "Are there any Al's Ales?" I said, "There is a mystery assortment of Al's Ales, in which I'm going to put all of them that I have into a cooler, and I don't know which ones are which because they keep getting moved around on me. And there's at least 3 different kinds, and I can only tell one of them because it's pitch black, so I know it's the porter. The other 2, though, could be anything. And also, it might explode everywhere.
Could even be a boat.
Could even be... I was making mystery box jokes to someone else yesterday. Continue with fun and games.
All right. What's more important? Looking good? Inner beauty? Why can't I have both?
You know what? Fuck it. Let's go with why can't I have both.
All right. Fair enough. All right. You prefer your action with a little comedy, sci-fi, romance, suspense, or crime?
Let's go sci-fi.
Sci-fi. Okay. Would you be willing to sacrifice yourself to help a loved one? Of course, anything for them. Maybe. Probably not.
Of course.
Michael Bay is known for his explosions. Which would you rather which would you rather blow up? A car, a giant asteroid, a building?
Ooh. Asteroid. Which means I'm going to get Armageddon, but
most
for
likely.
a minute here I thought I was going to get Transformers because of the sci-fi, but that might have tipped the scale in Armageddon's favor.
Before I click get result, what do you want the answer to be?
You know, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Despite my love for Armageddon, you know what I think my favorite Michael Bay movie is? Take a guess.
I'm having a hard time thinking of anything right now. Other than Bad Boys 2, Armageddon, and Transformers.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What the hell was that? I just had another one in my head and I completely lost it. The answer I was going to go with is The Island.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about that. Okay, here we go. And the answer is... this is so stupid. The answer is, boom! You're Armageddon. You always believe in doing your duty, whether it's to your family or mankind. You'd even be willing to sacrifice yourself to keep them safe.
Yeah, see, sci-fi and sacrifice, I was like, this could be Transformers or it could be Armageddon. And then once it was the asteroid, and I was like, it's going to end up being Armageddon.
It says underneath it says, not the results you wanted? See other results? That's not how quizzes work. That just means it's randomly generated.
It's like, no, this is like cheating. It's like cheating on a choose your own adventure.
Oh, these are the only other options. Boom, you are Bad Boys. Boom, you are Transformers. Boom, you are The Rock. Boom, you are Pain and Gain.
That's the one I was thinking of, Pain and Gain, because I was thinking, which one was the fucking Rock in? And then I finally clicked. I was like, oh, duh, Pain and Gain. I never saw that one.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's it for Fun and Games. With that, let us get into our flick of the week. Bad Boys for Life, released in 2020, rated R, with a 2-hour and 4-minute runtime. The Bad Boys, Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett, are back together for one last ride in the highly anticipated Bad Boys for Life. Al, were you a Bad Boys fan?
Very casually.
Okay. I loved...
I know you do. I was saying in the sense that, like, I've seen the second one a couple times, and, like, the opening scene of the first one.
Okay. So, as you know, I'm pretty sure we've brought it up on the show before. Big Bad Boys fan. So is Damien, which is why we went to go see it together. It's a movie that we've bonded over. This movie was the perfect balance between the previous 2 films while staying true to the form, like that the Bad Boys fans know and love. That's actually, you know what, that'll just be my tweet-length review, because I realize that my tweet-length review actually has a mixture of that verbiage in it, so...
The funny thing is, it doesn't seem like Brian is necessarily a huge fan, and yet he felt compelled to write a review of it for the Spin Cheer.
It's safe for me to read that now.
It's true.
I'm gonna have to read that.
So, well, we'll wait till after the spoilers to talk about that a little bit, but... and just a little bit. I urge you to read his review if you enjoyed this movie, or even if you didn't, just if you're looking for a different perspective. It's funny because he's written 407 game reviews, and then 2 TV reviews and 2 movie reviews.
I'm going to be honest with you, for a part of me thought you were serious about the number, and then I remembered that I was just working with all of the posts and that it's 230-something.
I don't know how many it is, but it's...
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot. He is a content machine, and I love
the man plays a lot of games, is what I got out of it.
I love how he has 6 or 7 game reviews that I haven't posted yet, just so that we have a steady stream of content, and he apologized for not writing 6 more. He said, I have 6 other ones I should be writing about. I'm sorry. He actually apologized to us, and we're like, dude, you're already crushing it. It's fine. When we run out of your stories, if you still haven't written the 6 of them, we'll be the mildest of mildly irritated by that.
I want to go inside of his head, and 5 seconds tops, because I don't know that I could handle anymore.
That sounds scary.
Because there was
by the way,
time
Brian, Brian, if you're listening to this, it's not meant to be an insult in any way, shape, or form, because I would not wish anyone to be inside my own head. So.
I'm kidding. It's the only reason why I say this is there was that he goes on these goes on these benders, right?
He does.
He'll play 700 games in a week, and then he won't play a game for 3 months, and then he'll write all of these articles, and then we'll be talking, and he'll be mid-article laying on the floor in his house. What are you doing, guy?
I don't understand how he physically types like that, because my hands would go numb in 35 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love waking up. You know how sometimes I usually sleep through the whole night. Once I go to sleep, I'm not going to wake up until it's time to wake up, or maybe half an hour before that. But every once in a while, I'll wake up at 3 in the morning, and I'll have 6 emails saying, Brian submitted a draft to the Spinchun. And I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. He's a powerhouse.
But anyway, my tweet-length review of Bad Boys for Life is a rollicking, ridiculous time that doesn't take itself too seriously most of the time.
Fair. That's perfect. That is perfect. And what about your rating?
I gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
I gave it a 6. All right.
It was definitely fun.
Uh-huh.
Definitely not good.
Oh, it's wildly flawed. I mean, as a movie, but that's not what you're there for. It's not about the storyline, which is terrible. It's about the ride.
let me tell you something that I wrote here, if I can find it. You're not here for the story.
No.
But the character interactions are what's important. I have more on that later, because some of it was an unequivocal success. Some of it was very much not. There were just, and I'm not even talking from a story perspective, just one-on-one or 3 or 4 maybe people's character interactions where I was like, I heard the line and I just went, oh.
Yeah, it hurt. Yeah, there were a handful of those. I will say those didn't happen between Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, because those two have a chemistry that will never die.
For the most part, but that was also something to its credit that I said, which they're dynamic. They still crush it.
Absolutely.
I do have one gripe on that matter, though. Did Will Smith really just forget how to act? Is that what it is?
What do you mean?
Can we just say it now at this point?
Like that he was really good for a minute?
Yeah. I mean, he was a legitimately, not great actor, but a legitimately good actor in most of his roles between, let's call it 1995 and 2005. Mm-hmm. It's like Nicolas Cage. Well, Nicolas Cage, I can't 100% remember if he won, but has been nominated for Oscars. Was a legitimately good actor, no longer is. Mostly just because he's chasing paychecks to fund his ridiculous...
I thought you were going to say chasing ghosts in New Orleans.
Well, that too.
He's trying to steal the Declaration of Independence, Al.
Despite interrupting my line about chasing a ridiculous lifestyle, that is 100% Exhibit A, B, and C. What it was I was referring to in saying chasing ghosts. We talked. I don't remember what episode that was in. It was probably a year and a half ago. We talked about him chasing ghosts in New Orleans. Literally.
Or being before or after Bob Honeyhoo do stuff?
First of all, how bad was your PTSD flashback when I mentioned that?
That was hard to listen to.
Because I listened to that today, just by accident. It just popped up as I was trying to find a movie start time. And I was like, oh, nope, we're going to sit down and listen to all of this. Because it is I am listening in real time to Anthony's soul slowly escape him.
You broke me.
I did. But regardless, there was just some terrible line deliveries in this movie by Will Smith that I'm just like,
yeah.
And like for years now, I was like, okay, it's not that he doesn't know how to act. He's just choosing really bad movies to do for whatever reason, whether it be his commitment to Scientology, whether it be his commitment to his son, commitment to, I'm not entirely sure what else with some other of the choices he's made. I never thought it was a lack of his ability to act, just him making really bad choices about the movies he was choosing to be in. At this point, I don't think he remembers how to do it anymore.
That's interesting. I would have to see him try in a movie that he was trying to be... Like, I don't know, you're not trying to flaunt your acting chops in Bad Boys, I don't think.
No, but like, I didn't even think his performance 100% worked as a Bad Boys, which is like, it should be a muscle memory thing to him. Like, being with Martin Lawrence, the chemistry. Being in these movies.
I didn't get that vibe out of this movie. I thought that... I did think... It really felt like they went back into it in a really great way.
The problem is, I remember almost zero of the lines in this movie. Even like the funny ones. I don't know why that is. Sometimes that just happens to me and I need it to be jogged out of my memory when I just saw something for the first time. But I don't know, there was just a few times where he was just like, he said something and I was like, now some of it was script stuff, but it was like you would think that being with Lawrence, being in this franchise, whatever, even though it's not a Michael Bay thing anymore, like, I don't know. He's just like, there was times where he was like clearly the worst person on screen. I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah. Interesting. I think I'd have to look at it through that lens because I was just having too much fun watching the movie.
For the most part, that's true. It was mostly in some of the times where the movie just slowed down for a minute.
Yeah, I will say, while I didn't have this reaction towards Will Smith, so maybe that's part of the. Maybe you're right. I will say Martin Lawrence. I was like, he nailed it. I feel like the whole movie.
Yeah,
he was.
It was a Martin Lawrence in a Bad Boys performance.
Yeah, it was great.
And it wasn't all bad with Will Smith. There was just a handful of times where I was just like, what is happening right now?
I will say that there was that. I'd be curious for like specific examples because the writing is terrible for the storyline.
Yes,
and that's. He might be rolling his eyes delivering the line for that reason.
Sure. There is probably an element of that, but I don't think
the worst writing is also around his character.
Yes.
That's so I don't know. It could be it's very possible that it's not a him thing or not fully him because I don't know. If he wanted to, he probably could get more out of it.
That's possible, but again, I guess this kind of goes to the choices thing because like I refuse on principle to watch that Netflix movie.
Which movie?
Bright.
Oh, I vaguely recall the poster. I didn't see that.
I won't do it.
Why is that?
I just won't do it.
Okay. Maybe I'll watch it.
I refuse. It's about cops and orcs and fairies.
I like those things separately.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing that I want to point out, though, this really blew me away is like, and I'm like, they nailed. I feel like they nailed the Bad Boys formula, as I said, and then the first movie, in a few parts, took itself way more serious. The second movie is fun, and the first movie is drama and funnies. The second movie is funnies and explosions.
Yep.
This movie does I feel like a perfect balance of those three things. With just didn't have great writing, but there isn't a good story to tell there.
Well, that's the problem. Is anytime it chose to go to the drama, it's written so poorly that I'm just like checking my watch. Like, okay, give me the next action or funny. I need something because not that all the jokes landed because they didn't, but some of them did. Like there was some legitimately funny stuff in the movie. So I was at least enjoying myself during those portions. The biggest problem with the drama is all of it felt so shoehorned in.
Yeah.
With the exception of the stuff surrounding... oh my god, I completely forgot his name. Mike Marcus, and Captain Howard. Because those are the only three characters... Well, with the exception of Marcus's wife, I guess. The only three characters that are still in the series from when they've been in the past. So that stuff worked, but all the other stuff with Ammo Squad, with Rita, with Isabel was so shoehorned in. And
absolutely.
When you do like a sequel this many years later, you're always going to do that to create new content because you're not going to bring back everyone from those other movies.
It was shoehorned in, and they might as well have had the label on it because Ammo, being the name of the group, was that ridiculous label of we just feel like we need to do this.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like you get one of those things, like you get to shoehorn one new thing into it, and the thing that makes the most sense is Ammo because it's clear they're positioning them to be either a bigger role in a sequel or to be a spinoff. Mm-hmm. But to then on top of that shoehorn in Rita. Because I had to actually look up. I was like, am I forgetting this character?
Like, was she in something else?
No, to see if she was in the first or second one.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. She isn't.
No, she's not. I definitely had, and I'm familiar with the first two movies, like, enough that I even thought that for a second. I was like, wait, is she someone? The way that they're talking about it was like, history. I was like, I know time has passed, but...
Well, so, and this is the briefest of spoilers, or I guess maybe we can just lift the veil, because, like, you're not in the movie for this story here.
No, let's lift the veil. I will just say this, like, before we do that, just one other thing. I have to say, that what I knew going into this movie, knowing that, like, we're gonna do I'm too old for this shit a lot, right? It is the Mel Gibson... Danny Glover dynamic between the two of them of like one is like I'm done and the other one's like I'm not yet.
The other one's like I still want to jump off of buildings onto helicopters while shooting and fucking at the same time.
And when that was yes, and when you read it, when you see that like this movie's being made this many years later and like that's they're going for that, you know there's going to be a lot of those old versus young jokes in the movie.
Yep.
Surprisingly, some of usually none of those are going to hit. They're usually just all bad. Surprisingly, there was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 that were really funny. And I was like, oh, all right.
Well, when I said Ammo was shoehorned in, they did work for some parts of it.
No, I actually liked the characters in Ammo.
I did, despite all of them being one note. But they're all one note because A, the writers aren't that good, and B, they just weren't given enough time to be anything more than that.
Right.
I feel like if you're going to commit to this bit, you got to give them a little bit more to do in this movie.
That's totally fair. With that being said, if you are remotely interested in Bad Boys, if you've liked the previous Bad Boys movies, you're going to like this one. It's fun. It's an entertaining ride.
Wait, you never read the synopsis?
What?
You never read the synopsis, did you? Or did I?
Yeah, I did.
You
blacked out. You blacked out.
I remember us doing our tweet-length reviews.
Yeah, I did it before that.
Huh.
I do that in the very beginning. I read the title of the
Mike
movie.
Lowry and Marcus Burnett are back together for one last ride in the highly anticipated
100%. Yep, that's
Zero
exactly what
memory
it was.
Zero.
So good.
Must have been chewing on a pretty good grape at that point.
Yeah. let's lift the veil. We're in post-spoiler territory.
Okay, good. Before you go on to your next point, I know I've dominated this so far. If you're going to shoehorn an Ammo and you're going to shoehorn a completely retcon relationship with Rita, you can't also, on top of that, do another historical retconned relationship with the villain, who obviously from the very first moment that she's talking with her son and she's talking about all these people who we're going to kill and stuff like that, it's like, okay, so they're lingering on Mike, this and that. Obviously, there's a thing between Mike. Whether you 100% know that the son is going to be Mike's or not, you know that there was a relationship between her and Mike. You can't do all 3 of those things in this. You get to shoehorn one thing.
Yeah.
/ retcon one thing.
You did a lot there.
You did 3 huge, crucial things. Like, all of the backbone of this movie, with the exception of just Mike and Marcus's relationship, all of it is built around these 3 things that you added. It's too many things to add.
Yeah. No, I agree. That it's, and again, there is no argument that the writing's not good. It's fine. Again, not what we were here for.
Sure.
If you did, the first movie actually has decent writing.
I really never saw it.
There's at least a decent storyline, I should say. Okay, we're in spoiler territory. I have to tell you about my favorite thing about this movie, and that is that Reggie's in it.
I too strongly appreciated that.
Damien and I both audibly gasped and turned to each other. We're like, oh, he's here.
I also love how they talked around the infamous Reggie scene. I know we always weren't super welcoming to you. In fact, we did everything in our power to chase you away. And I was like, that is an understatement, sir. You threatened to fuck him.
You ever make love to a man? No, sir. You want to? Oh, man. I need to rewatch the second one. It's ridiculous. Martin Lawrence being high in the second one is the best scene of all three of these movies. You ever just rub your leather, Mike?
I remember three things from that movie, like distinctly. I've seen the whole movie. I remember the scene with Reggie. I remember that scene with the captain. And I remember the scene in the morgue where he's laying on the slab with the naked body that's filled with drugs.
So good. So good. Oh, man. So ridiculous. Anyway, getting back to it. So bringing Reggie back, that was absolutely priceless. Now, I want to get into one of the jokes that landed, the old joke that landed for me, was their commitment to the bit of Martin Lawrence needs his glasses to see. And in the moment of insanity of gunfighting, as they were shooting it, they were like, you know what? This scene's a little too much. And then they slow-mo throw the gun to Martin Lawrence, and he just misses it.
Like, it went left and he went right.
That scene on its own, that really got me. I just thought that was so funny. That, and as far as the other, the old versus young jokes, I don't know his name, the kid that Mike can't stand in Ammo, and then eventually they fist bump, and I guess they're cool now at
Rafe?
The end. What was it?
Rafe?
Him.
It was Kelly, Dorn, and Rafe.
Okay, so I assume it was that
Which
one.
Also, the douchiest names, or at least Dorn and Rafe are, the douchiest names you could offer to these young kids. Also, all of them were wildly too attractive with way too trendy haircuts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but the
I didn't know if they were riffing on 21 Jump Street.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought it was.
But then, they never went anywhere with that. They never commented on it, other than when they were checking out Dorn. He was squeezing his bicep.
Yeah.
But even that was just kind of a subtle one-off joke.
I like how they're all very one note, but they decide for 30 seconds that they want to give Dorn a little more.
Yeah, he's the only one who gets any characterization at all, other than Rafe being an egomaniac.
Right.
Which even then they kind of fucked that up a little bit, because
100%.
I don't know, the jokes about the mental health thing was kind of cringy. At first I was like, oh, they're kind of going in an interesting way here. They're cracking on the huge jack dude who should be the badass, being the nerd, right? And he's always in the van. He's the guy in the chair. And then it's
classic Ned.
Yeah, there's I know you love that from Ned, so
love it.
There's a real kind of story behind this, right? They even got serious. When they tell you his backstory about the bar fight he broke up and the guy dies and everything. I was oh, okay, there's something there.
Yeah.
And then it's ha, you're gonna need therapy, and I was oh.
Yeah, and then he goes, and then he wants them to go, and then it's just okay, let's leave this.
Well, the thing is, after the bad joke about needing therapy, they then did the thing where it's all of a sudden he's clean shaven, and it's clearly he's turning over a new leaf after unleashing all holy hell in that fight scene. And despite me not liking the original part about the therapy thing, it was a little bit funny where he's I'm gonna need it. I was oh, a little weird. Kind of funny. I was walking the line a little bit, and then it was oh, I started doing therapy, and it's doing really great. And I was oh, that's kind of nice. And it's they said that you should all come with me, and they're all yeah, we're not going. And I was oh, that's kind of fucked up again.
Yeah. With regards to Ammo, I liked the concept that Rita recognized that these two guys are legends.
Yes,
and that was kind of cool. But then that the other guy.
Kelly?
They make it seem like the other guys don't know about them, but really it was just that one of them he's an egomaniac, and he doesn't want to give them any clout, that they're that they're actually that amazing.
I guess it did make for an interesting dynamic, right? Because the two of them are butting heads constantly. Kelly is all in on Mike's brand of kicking ass and taking names, because like she follows him into the raid, and then like sees him in action.
Kelly, I said Rita before. I think.
Yeah, I know. I tried to not so subtly redirect, but she goes through it with Mike and is like, "Oh, that was pretty badass." But also, I'm going to go back to following orders now. And then Dorn just kind of like happy-go-lucky and just like, "Yeah, I get why this is important. And we're on board, guys. Let's do it."
Yeah.
Just to make
go team.
Yeah, go team. Do you want to talk about your? Before it's just kind of a one note thing. Before we talk about your experience with spoilers in this movie, there's something I was really confused by early on in the movie. Not a super important thing, just like fucking with my head, kind of. How much taller is Armando than his mom?
I don't know why. What made you say?
There's a sequence of like 3 shots across like a few minutes, 5 minutes or so, where like he rescues her from when she breaks out of prison in the beginning, and then there's like a big like tension moment where like they're standing facing each other as we're about to find them unveiling their plan, and then we see them again briefly. I don't remember exactly what's going on in the third one, and each time she ranges between being about 2 inches shorter than him and about 2 feet shorter than him.
I did not notice that at all.
It was all in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and I was just like, what is happening? I was like, he's either Andre the Giant sized, or he's my height, and she is either sub 5 feet tall, or a rather tall woman, and I don't know what any of them are. I'm so confused by any and all of these scenes.
Something camera angles.
Yeah, and for the rest of the movie, they spend 0 minutes on screen together until the very end.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know if they were putting her on a box, if they were putting him on a box, whatever. But all like within quick succession, there was 2 of them sitting. It was like she's like a foot shorter than him, and then all of a sudden she's 2 inches shorter than him, and I was like, "Am I on acid right now? I don't understand what's happening."
That's so stupid, so ridiculous.
It's the stupidest thing to be hung up on, and yet it was blowing my mind.
That's all you could focus on in those scenes.
I couldn't focus on anything else. It was like, what is happening?
All right, it's time for my frustration, and that is, well, in hindsight, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I love Joe Pantoliano. I was gonna say Pantaleones, but that's not it. Pantoliano. I think he's great. I love him in everything that I've seen. Memento, The Matrix, Bad Boys movies. I always enjoy his performances.
Matrix.
I said that.
I'm just gonna keep doing it to you now. The one that you didn't mention that he was also legitimately pretty good in was.
Don't you say Memento?
No, Sense8.
Oh, okay.
No, you know what he was great in was The Sopranos.
Yeah, I've heard that.
He was just kind of par for the course Joe Pantoliano stuff in those 2 movies with Tommy Lee Jones, U.S. Marshals and The Fugitive.
Yep. Oh man. Anyway, I like him a lot, and his Captain Howard is a great character, and he's the caricature of angry police captain that has been used in movie and TV show after movie and TV show for the entire run of like the late 70s through the early 2000s, and it's like he is all of that, like all of the best parts of it.
It's funny because there's like the big picture angry police chief, right? And then there's angry white police chief, angry black police chief.
Right.
And he's the best of all.
Yeah, he's got them all. The whole Wusa thing from the second one it remains to be one of my favorites.
See, I loved him sucking down Pepto-Bismol on this one.
Oh yeah, it's so good. And the face that Will Smith makes when he's doing it, he's like it looks like a gross, or Martin Lawrence. I forget who was in the scene because he dominates the screen when he's on the scene. Because he's all over. He's flailing. He's yelling. He's just so funny.
Although I will say I was a little concerned. He didn't sound great in this.
He didn't sound great?
Yeah, like I'm talking about like legitimately I'm a little concerned for Joe Pantoliano's health. Like, he didn't sound great in this. Yeah, also, I noticed he's looking, as he's getting older, he's looking more and more like Uncle Eddie every day.
Oh my god.
And by
You're
that
absolutely
laughter,
right.
I was going to say, by that
You're
laughter, I'm going
absolutely
to
right.
take that for a confirmation of my thesis.
He even has... He's even chewing on a toothpick most of the time.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's really funny. Anyway, we're like, I don't know, I think we're like a week out from the movie even releasing. And I'm scrolling through my Apple News feed. I have a movies category that has a whole bunch of movie news that surfaces through there. And the headline, it's like a picture of Bad Boys 2, and the headline is saying goodbye to Captain Howard. And I'm like, what are you doing?
No, wait, was that really before the movie came out? Because you didn't mention it until after it came out.
No, it was before.
Okay, because
it was before.
When you mentioned it, I immediately knew what you meant because I had already read Brian's review when I was editing it, and he wrote it after he saw it.
No, I was just behind on our communication there. It was the week before the movie came out.
Okay, well, so that means that you sat on that anger for like 10 days.
Because I didn't want to hint at it, because if you know the movie at all, and if you know my association with loving the movie, like enjoying the movies, loving the movies in certain cases, that he would have been the obvious pick if I said somebody dies.
It could have been any of the three of them. But the other thing was, with my very vague knowledge of the series, I didn't know if there was going to be anyone else still carried through the movies. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, they could have killed off. Then they gave her like one line, like a throwaway line. They could have killed off Marcus's sister or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
They could have killed off his daughter. Like,
yeah. No, you're right. But like, no, this one, I was just really like, it was in the headline. It was that's ridiculous. Like, you can't do that.
no,
Like, seriously, be better.
especially that early. Like, if it was like several weeks after the movie came out.
Even so, that's not the headline.
Sure,
You can talk about it.
Sure, I'm just saying it's going to be less egregious then.
Saying goodbye to a beloved character, you can say.
Sure, or saying goodbye to spoiler. You know what I mean? Like,
Right, but even that, even that has to wait. That has to be maybe, like you're saying, like 2 or 3 weeks in, because that's
well, it's no different than saying beloved character because you're going to.
No, I'm saying beloved character. Both of those, like, those are later. They can't be before the movie comes out. It's anyway. I was really frustrated by this.
Or saying goodbye to beloved character, and the thumbnail is clearly a picture of Captain Howard.
Yeah, and it's like how he dies.
A picture of Captain Howard with a fucking bullet hitting him in the throat.
Right. It's a GIF. So anyway, basically, I have this information going in, and then watching in the movie, I'm just waiting for it to happen until it happens.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of was to a certain extent too, because again, I knew it was coming. I knew the major twist, if you can call it that, was coming. But like, it was telegraphed so early on that it wouldn't have mattered.
It prevented me from enjoying his scenes because I was worried in every scene that he was in that this is it. Like, I didn't know how it was going to happen. I didn't know, like, oh, is he actually going to have a heart attack, like, yelling right now? Like what's going to, like, I didn't know how he was going to die.
See, I knew how it was going to happen, and I knew that, like, it was at least halfway through, so, like...
So you had time to enjoy it.
Yeah, so, like, I knew the first couple scenes he was in that he was safe, and then it came down to, like, the last, like, 2 scenes he was in. I was like, oh, is it going to be now? And then it didn't happen. And then I was like, is it going to be now? And then it did happen.
There is so clearly not background music right now. That's the scene that it's going to happen in, so that we could really hear the gunshot. Anyway, that really... but then I thought about it afterwards. I was like, I'm going to take this... maybe I'll look at the bright side. I would have been inconsolable if I didn't know ahead of time, and that happened in the way that it happens. I would have been heartbroken, and I don't think I would have been able to enjoy the rest of the movie.
Wow. I mean, what a weird connection to that random character.
I don't know why, but I love him so much.
I mean, he was funny. I never would have had that connection. So.
How did you sink a boat? That's my favorite line. Just the complete defeat that he puts in his voice in those scenes. Oh man. Anyway, that's egregious. Don't do that. Do not put that shit in your titles.
Question: while we're on the topic of Joe Pants, other than Michael Clark
Pants.
Duncan, is he the only good thing in Daredevil?
You know that I like the Ben Affleck portrayal of Daredevil. So
yeah, I still can't get that. By the way, I forgot news notes and nuggets. Did you see the reveal of the Batman? They showed the first shot of him in costume. It was
no.
Yeah, it was. I saw it tonight. I meant to bring it up earlier. Totally forgot.
Oh my god!
It's like it's purely a teaser thing because it's not
care.
like him. No, meaning like it's not him in like an action or anything. It's like red lit and like they like zoom in on his chest and like the Batman logo on it, and then they like pan up and then they show it. And while watching it, and this isn't meant to be either a positive or a negative, my first observation when watching it was him in this suit reminds me strongly of Charlie Cox Daredevil from the Netflix shows. Like very much that vibe.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. It's pretty cool so far. It's an interesting take on the suit. It looks kind of like Arkham Asylum, like that Batman. Interesting. It's long.
It's like 1 minute.
It's long for not showing you anything.
They finally pan away and show you a little more for the final
music's
5
good.
seconds. What's that?
The music's good. Like the dark ominous tones are good.
Oh, I was watching it on mute.
Oh, gotcha. Wait a minute. The Batman teaser trailer. What?
No,
Is there another one?
I don't think so. This was like a set
concept.
video, whatever.
It's a concept from December 13th. Cool. That's actually pretty sweet. Anyway, more on that next week.
Yeah, that just reminded me.
I had to know in the moment. I couldn't.
I figured, and I let you go with it because I knew it was pretty short. So,
Appreciate
but anyway,
it.
back to this movie.
Joey Pants.
Rest in peace, Captain Howard.
Oh, I'm just so mad about it all.
I mean, listen, there could have been a way more important movie that you could have had spoiled for you.
Oh, 100%. And I have.
Sure.
It just bothered me.
Imagine if something like that, imagine if you got, spoilers, everyone, for Rise of Skywalker. If it was, saying goodbye to Ben Solo.
Right.
Fuck you. You know what I mean?
I will say, here's a scene I enjoyed. Probably more than I should have. I don't know where this disdain comes from. Maybe it's the fact that I hate in music when people say their own names. But DJ Khaled getting his hand beat with a meat tenderizer was there was a weird catharsis.
I'm sorry, because as soon as you said I hate hearing voices or hearing names in songs, I was like, oh, he's talking about DJ Khaled, isn't he?
Absolutely.
I saw him in the credits. Also, the way he was represented in the credits was so weird.
What'd it say?
What?
What did it say?
I believe it said Khaled apostrophes DJ Khaled on the closed apostrophe or no closed parentheses.
Khaled. Yep. It actually says on IMDb as Khaled DJ Khaled. So yeah, you saw that, right? At least
too many Khaleds in that name.
There were 3 too many.
No, there's at least two too many. Anyway, I completely
when it got to that point in the credits, he says it.
Oh my god! Can you imagine while they're running it? It just in the background, DJ Khaled. We should be in charge. Yeah. Anyway, I completely forgot he was in the movie until he showed up in the movie. He's like, "Oh yeah, remember that thing that was in the credits?"
What is the line? I'm gonna penetrate this man with my soul.
I'm gonna penetrate this man's soul
with my heart.
With my heart.
That's right. That was another reoccurring joke that was really landing every time.
I actually liked that how they opened and closed that whole thing with it at the end. I was like, you know what? This is the only thing that you wrote well in the whole movie. But we've been complaining a lot about this movie, so let's talk about some good things because there are some really fun, stupid.
I've got the best one for you.
Okay.
Mike in a coma.
With the midnight cocoa bean? Was that what it was?
Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah, way funnier than it had any right to be. He goes, man, you're dying your beard. You're dying your goatee. What are you talking about? Midnight cocoa bean? I know.
I know it. What about? One of my favorite. I think it was Hobbs and Shaw. The first 80% of the movie is a split screen of the two of them doing things, and then that when they did that in this movie, and it's Mike going into the safe and grabbing his gun, and Mark is going into the microwave and grabbing his burrito. I was just like, I don't even care.
No, that was a good joke. No, but there was like some fun like action sequences that are just there for you to enjoy. And I did. Like, I thought that the shootout at the arms deal in that warehouse was pretty badass. Mm-hmm. Specifically the moment where he shoots that dude and then shoots the car and then the car just squashes him.
Everybody in the movie theater goes, "Oh!"
Yeah, that's what I did too. I was like, "Ooh." There's just a lot of stupid in that fight. Them on the motorcycle chase was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like that parts of that scene was just absolutely bonkers. And him grabbing the grenade and he goes, "What am I supposed to do with this?" And he just pulls the pin. And he goes, "Better get rid of it." And he throws it. And then the guy scoops it while riding on his motorcycle. And I was like, "Come on!"
That is more than once in this movie. I was like, I never question it in movies. Never. I just allow this to happen. But more than once during this movie, I was like, "But why are you a trained fighter? Like, why are you so skilled at this?"
Yeah, but that one I was just like, how? How could anyone in a high-speed chase do that?
He was a professional lacrosse player.
Like, if he taken, like, his assault rifle and swung the butt of it and, like, not croquet it. Yeah, no. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, like croquet mallet?
Polo.
Oh. Okay.
If he, like, cracked it with his motorcycle, ridiculous, but I would have allowed it. He scooped it with his hand.
Scooped. Yeah, 100%. He would have absolutely fallen over trying to reach that.
Yes, that's my point. Like I said, if he took the butt of his gun and smacked it like he was playing polo, I would have allowed it. Totally fine. Ridiculous, but totally fine. The opening race like sequence where you think they're going to do some serious and they're going for the birth of the grandson was actually really cool.
That was good.
Just so he's like, oh my god, he's freaking out. Slow down, faster. You want me to slow down and speed up at the same time.
I like when they're in the was it like a Nissan Versa or something? We got Mike Lowry here.
They stole the Jurassic Park. Dotson. Yeah. We got Dotson here.
Nobody cares.
So what's up?
Go ahead.
I was when they're racing across the beach and he's, "Sorry, rich white people. Don't worry, we're black people and we're cops.
We'll arrest ourselves
over later."
I liked one of the things that stood out to me is a lot of times you'll see a movie like this, or you'll see the trailers for a movie like this, and the jokes are in the trailer, and when they are delivered, it's just like, yeah, I heard this one already, and it's not funny. They cut those jokes for the trailer just right, where they were so much better in the context of the movie. When that guy falls onto the car,
that was really good.
And they have this, like, I don't know, 2.7 second pause before they react at all. It's just perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
That was perfect, and then the follow-up.
Please don't be.
Please don't be what's in. That could be anyone. It's clearly
the whole thing with the fanny pack and the baby wipes. It's laugh out loud funny a lot of times.
Yeah, no, there was some legitimately good, funny stuff. I wish I could remember some of the lines that I appreciated.
Yeah.
What was it? I had something else here. Hang on a second. I totally lost what I was going to say. I was like, I actually did think, not from the funny perspective, it brought me back to what you were saying about bringing back Reggie was a kind of a nice touch to this whole thing. Mm. The couple of moments from their past that we actually remember are some solid, even though it plays on nostalgia. Some of that was actually pretty good. And again, it was like I said, central to the Mike Marcus Captain Howard thing. Mm-hmm. And even playing into the whole thing with Reggie and the wedding and all that. But when they sit down at the party after the wedding and all that, there were some nice quiet moments in that stuff, especially earlier in the movie. As it got later, it kind of started to drift farther and farther away from me. But some of those little moments were actually okay.
Yeah. There's another. I'm going through it and I'm replaying certain scenes that were just that really tickled me. And one of them is when they were in the club and it's very loud. And Marcus,
don't worry, they can't hear me.
It's just, yeah, we can hear you. Oh,
Is that what they were talking about? Oh no, it was later. He talks about the don't forget about those little blue pills.
Yeah.
Which is actually a pretty solid callback too to him taking the ecstasy on accident.
Absolutely.
And actually, as far as running jokes go, the thing about Mike and Rafe's mom was actually kind of a funny running joke until they used it one too many times at the end. Because he calls it back in the end and it was like, oh, you know what? Good job tying that loose end.
And then they did it again.
And they did it again like 5 minutes later. I was like, no.
Not even, it was like 35 seconds later. It was,
was it? I thought it was
it was too
minutes.
soon.
I was like, no, you had the perfect dismount on that joke. Like, you did it. It worked. It paid off. Don't do it again.
Size of Big Ben clock.
Every time you do it, I'm not ready.
Oh, man.
Speaking of Ben Schwartz, so we doing Sonic next week, or?
Here's the thing. I want to see it.
No, I can't. Come on.
You can't? I think I'm going to see it.
No, after the whole debacle with the teeth, with the not being...
Makes me... It's more of my love for Jim.
Yeah, but...
Al, I'm not going to make you go see this one in theaters. I am going to make you see this one.
Fine, if you want to do it a year from now or whatever,
okay.
Maybe.
It might be... I would assume that it's going to be a contender for a bad movie night.
I was going to say, listen...
The current frontrunner is Cats.
If you come back from the movies and you're like, no, dude, somehow it's good, then maybe I'll go see it when you do it for an episode. I can't justify giving them a single cent right now.
What if I do that and lie?
Then you are going to reimburse me my $8.
Okay. All right.
It was funny, though, as I was just thinking about it, and I said the thing about baby teeth, because that was what was on my mind, because I listened to a couple minutes of the baby teeth conversation.
Nice.
When we were going back to those old episodes. Not quite the reaction I got from you with Bob Honey, but the other thing was you actually legitimately enjoyed that conversation.
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
Sure.
Ridiculous. All right. Do you have any other notes on Bad Boys for Life?
I would be concerned if I did.
All right. I've got one last thing.
Okay.
If you're clearly setting it up to make another movie,
it does seem like they're clearly setting up something.
Why wouldn't you hold on to Bad Boys for Life for that title?
That's what I said to you when they gave us the first trailer or whatever when we talked about it on this show. It's like, I'm so mad. I'm still mad. I will never forgive the Fast and the Furious for not branding themselves F8 of the Furious.
Yeah.
In this case, they couldn't do the thing.
But they did it anyway.
No. They couldn't do it because it's the third movie. It was like, why wouldn't you hold on to this title for the fourth one?
Right. Oh, one last callback joke. Marcus still doesn't know the words. And that is perfect.
Oh, I see. I forgot that was a running joke. Yeah.
No, we're not going to do this to him.
What was even the sound that he was making? Like snickety snack.
Hey.
The kid was crying.
I love it so much. All right.
Actually, that was one good line that when the Ammo Squad started singing it, he goes, No, you're singing it wrong. You don't get to do it.
It takes a lot of time to learn the lyrics.
Yeah, it takes a long time to learn the lyrics.
Oh, man. Well, that's all for this week's episode of Flix in a Six. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, if you have a movie for us to review or nuggets for us to discuss, you can send those requests to flixinasix@spintune.com or tweet us at @thespintune with the hashtag FLI6. Tune in next week for more movie and beer goodness. Until then, I'm Anthony Costanzo.
And I'm Al Bielsi.
Thanks for coming out.